Closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.
Hey, hope you're all having a great day, but I'm not wasting no time today. We're hopping right into this video. So don't try and tell me, man, that this NBA season isn't absolutely crazy. We're talking about the Phoenix Suns, the New York Knicks, both being top 4 seeds. We're talking about two teams that were the laughing stocks of the NBA for the whole 2010s. They've been one of the worst franchises since I've started watching basketball, and they are now top 4 teams in their respective conferences. I mean, we're talking about the Phoenix Suns, who are top 10 in both offensive and defensive rating. We're talking about the New York Knicks, who, besides the defending champions, are the best defensive team in the league. To me, it's absolutely wild, and I want to do a little dive into why these teams have been so good and talk about the good points and maybe even the potentially bad points of these franchises and what they're doing right and where I think they can head in the future. Let's get it, man. Okay, so we're starting off with the New York Knicks this video. Because the Phoenix Suns, I mean, they had Chris Paul, they had Devon, they had a lot of potential to be good. But the New York Knicks, I'm going to be honest, I expected nothing out of y'all. Nothing. But damn, did y'all prove me wrong. And 3 reasons are a big key factor of why y'all are doing so good, in my opinion. 1, we all know that man, Julius Randle, last time I checked, averaging about 25, 10, and 5. Very, very good numbers, shooting pretty damn good, playing amazing defense. The offense is going through him, and that's pretty impressive. You know, there's not too many big men that can run the offense through them, but it's just a make it break it point for them, man. He is taking charge, taking his career to another level. Most improved player by far. I just love his leadership out there, and just the fact that he's obviously been in the gym working on his game. You know, he's got better at the mid-range shot. He's become a better playmaker. He's become better just taking advantage of a matchup disadvantages. You know, when he's on like a smaller player or something, he'd take him off the dribble, he'd post him up. He's just become a better overall player, most improved player, no doubt. All right, second up, y'all got a real coach, man, Tom Thibodeau. He had a bad stint in Minnesota, and I think he kind of got a bad name, but New York still took a risk on him, and he's been a really, really good coach for him. I mean, they're second in defensive rating in the NBA. Second, man. We're talking about the Lakers, the only team ahead of them. But the Knicks are first in opponent three-point percentage and first in opponent field goal percentage. Which, if you don't know what that means, it means that teams shoot the lowest percentage on field goals and three-point percentage against the Knicks. That's super impressive to be first in both of them. I mean, that means they're absolutely clamping everybody up. That's where they're making their bread and butter happen. Other teams are getting up shots on them, but they're swatting that shit. They're making them miss. They're getting in their face. They're disrupting their shot, their rhythm, and they're really just making it hard on teams to score right now. Now, the Knicks aren't the best offensive team. I think they're in the bottom third of the league in that. So without their defense, they would be a trash team like normal. But Tom Thibodeau, he's always been a defensive-minded coach. And he's preaching the defense, man. I mean, they got Julius Randle, who I said has been good on defense. R.J. Barrett, he has a long, lanky body. They got Reggie Bullock, Alec Burks. Mitchell Robinson's a great shot blocker. Oh, not to mention Nerlens Noel. He's found his role in the NBA. You know, he was a high pick. He's never going to live up to that. But he's in like 21 minutes per game. He's averaging 2 blocks per game. That's actually more than Mitchell Robinson, who's starting. But 2 blocks per game per 10 minutes? I mean, he's averaging like one block per 10 minutes. That's absolutely insane. I'm very impressed by him. So they always have a lockdown shot blocker in the paint. And they just have a lot of guys who maybe they aren't lockdown defenders, but they're just going to be swarming you on the perimeter. And just with Tom Thibodeau's coaching schemes, he's just got these guys playing lockdown defense, the best defense in the NBA. And that is what is propelling this team to being as good as they are right now. I like the addition of Derrick Rose. I don't think he'll do too much for y'all besides help you make that playoff push. But I think that's very, very important for the Knicks. Knicks fans have suffered for too long. And they need a playoff push. They need to make it to the playoffs. I want to see it, man. You know, even a couple playoff wins or even a playoff series win, that would mean the world to Knicks fans. So I know y'all pushing for that. Derrick Rose definitely helped that happen. And I said this at the beginning of the NBA season. I still believe it. RJ Barrett is going to be a superstar. Now, you can go check that video out if you want. I wouldn't recommend it because I'm going to own up to it, man. I was starting out YouTube then. Video quality was terrible. So I wouldn't recommend checking it out. But I said I think RJ Barrett would be a superstar. He has the raw skills and raw potential to be it. He is nowhere near that yet. I know. He's field goal percentage, a lot to be improved. His three-point percentage has a lot to be improved as well. He still needs to work on his defense, but he's obviously improved it a lot this season. But I think he can take it to another level. I think he could be a lockdown defender. And I think he has like the raw skill set of a James Harden. People don't really like when I say that unless you're a Knicks fan, but I think he, in the future, it's going to take a few years. He's not going to be one of the people to break out right away. He's going to be a superstar in this league. I'm calling it right now. I love his game. I love watching him. He has his night where he shoots terrible, but it's all part of the growing process for him. No player is the same, man. Just giving time. I think he's that man. The only thing I have to say about the Knicks negatively is they're doing too good. I know that's a good problem to have for Obi Toppin, man. I feel like it's going to kind of push this development out of the way because Tom Thibodeau doesn't like to play young players, especially if they're not ready yet. So, people like Kevin Knox, Obi Toppin, Frank Ntilikina, he's not going to let them give a chance. Not maybe Obi Toppin a little bit, but they're kind of getting kicked out of the rotation, and we'll see where he goes, but it's going to hurt Obi Toppin's development a lot. And I think Kevin Knox and Frank Ntilikina, they're probably done for on this team. But let's get into the next. Now for the Phoenix Suns. Chris Paul has always been one of my favorite players. And this is why, man. He just comes into the Phoenix Suns. And he makes them one of the best damn teams in the Western Conference. It's actually ridiculous. Like, I'm kind of mad. Why is he so good at, like, 36-year-old? I love watching Chris Paul. He's averaging, I think, 16-9 on the season, if I remember correctly. This guy is just an absolute beast. I feel like he could average 5 points per game and still affect the game, like, positively. He's just absolutely wild, man. Devin Booker, he had a slow start to the season. Now he's picking it up, averaging about 25 points per game on very good efficiency. I'm glad he got that injury replacement in the All-Star game because he deserved it. I love the makeup of this team. I mean, of course, they have those two stars. Then they have that boy DeAndre Ayton in the paint. I think he needs to be more aggressive, 14 points per game. He needs more. But at the same time, he's a good piece for them. But Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, and Jay Crowder, I just love the switchability they have at that forward position. Jay Crowder is more of a temporary piece for him right now, but Cameron Johnson and Mikal Bridges, they need to keep those guys. Those guys are snipers from deep. Mikal has really became a sniper this season. And they're just good 3-and-D guys. Y'all got him a rookie contract right now. You have Devin Booker, you have Chris Paul. Man, I'm liking the makeup of this team. Dario Saric just cool off the bench, and I'm kind of drawing blanks right now. I don't want to stop the video real quick, but I know y'all have probably a couple other players too that I'm missing, but you get the gist of it, man. Y'all are a really good scoring team, have a lot of switchability. Everybody can really play a little bit of defense. I know Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton are lockdowns, but at least they can put a body on someone and they can move their feet good enough to, really stay in front of them. And that's why the Suns are 6th in defensive rating, and they're also 8th in offense. So, historically, man, teams that win the NBA championship are top 10 in both offense and defense, and they are top 10 in both. So, I'm kind of getting that vibe that, at the recording of this video, by the way, they were both top 4 seeds. So, I don't know if I mentioned that before. I think I'm recording this on March 2nd. I'm going to be uploading this a couple days later. So, if things change between these two teams, I don't know if the Suns drop out, the Knicks drop out of the top 4 seed, my bad, man, but I don't care. These teams are good regardless. And, I think this team can make a conference final push. Now, will they make it? Who knows, man? But I definitely think the second round, an extremely realistic possibility for this team. Chris Paul, very experienced. And this could be Chris Paul's second trip to the conference finals if all things go right for him. And really what their bread and butter is right now on the defensive side because they have a lot of people that can switch and everything, but the main thing that they focus on, they don't allow other teams to get too many assists. They're forcing players into isolation. They're forcing them not to pass the ball, and then when they do pass the ball, they're just not letting them score. They're forcing players on the island, and they're limiting 3-point shots. Let me check real quick. Yeah, they're second in opponent 3-point percentage. So only behind the New York Knicks, who we talked about earlier. They're the team right behind them. And they're also, hold on, real quick. They're second in 3-pointers allowed. Yes, that's what I was looking for. So second in 3-pointers allowed and second in 3-point percentage. Very, very impressive. So they're not allowing teams to hit threes on them at all. And that's what the NBA today was about, man. It's about, getting the 3-point shots up. The analytics say you need to get up as many threes as you can, make as many threes. And they're like, no, we're not going to let you hit threes. We're not going to let you pass the ball around. We're going to force you into isolations and force you to shoot 2-pointers. And apparently, that's working very, very good for them. Forcing them to drive, forcing them to get twos. While this team is one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the league. Working very, very good so far for them. On the other end of the spectrum, although they don't let other teams get a lot of assists against them or shoot a lot of threes or shoot threes efficiently, they're very good at that stuff. They're 4th in assists per game, and they're also 4th in least amount of turnovers. So they're getting the assists without getting the turnovers, and they're top 10 in 3-pointers made and top 10 in 3-point percentage. So they're getting the threes up, they're shooting efficiently, they're passing the ball around, not turning it over, and that's why they're 8th in offensive rating. I just like the team, man. Chris Paul and Devin Booker, that's a dynamic duo. I wish this could have happened when Chris Paul was younger. Like, if we could just take Chris Paul on a time machine from when he was 32, bring him to now, I think this could be a championship team in the future. The only reason I say that could have been is because Chris Paul's 36. Yes, he's amazing. And every year we're like, oh, he might get worse. But let's be honest, man. At some point, he's going to hit 40. So, like, in 3-4 years, do you think Chris Paul's going to be playing at this level? I would wish I could say he is, but he's not. Let's just enjoy it while it lasts. This team can make a conference finals run. Maybe push for the finals. Who knows? Like, this team's impressing me more and more every day. Very fun team to watch. I hope y'all Suns fans are enjoying it because it's been a while since y'all been a really good team. Hey, maybe y'all had more success than you did with Steve Nash. Who knows, man? But that's all I got time for today. I just wanted to praise both of these teams. Talk about how good they've been. And both of these teams, in my opinion, have a very, very good shot at least making the second round. But if you haven't liked the video, go ahead and hit that like button. I appreciate it. Like, subscribe, do all that. But I'm going to head out. Video's too long already.